Could the New York Knicks be headed to the NBA Finals next season? If you're listening to an ESPN Insider, you're gonna believe that. Because recently, they stated that in November, the Phoenix Suns, who they believe will also be a finals team, will face the New York Knicks. And that matchup will likely be the matchup in the NBA Finals headed for next season. A lot of Knicks fans went wild. We're going to break down that report, who said it, and if it's even realistic. We're then going to look at Josh Hart and his contract extension with the New York Knicks, as we also have an update on that. And finally, the New York Knicks fully guaranteed a New York Knicks player recent contract. We're going to break down that and so much more today on the Knicks Digest. The New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. The idea is not only ludicrous, but wild. If you're a New York Knicks fan, though, you're not only backing this, but you're supporting this. And if you're listening to ESPN Bobby Marks, he is absolutely somebody New York Knicks fans are loving right now. Because in a recent report, he indicated that in November, when the Suns and the Knicks meet for the first time, that is likely going to be something we'll see again in the NBA Finals. According to Bobby Marks, he had a prediction that again will surely intrigue the New York Knicks fans, according to Sports Illustrated, as the current analyst thinks that the Phoenix Suns' visit to Madison Square Garden on November 26th will be the first of at least 3 for the upcoming campaign, the latter 2 coming in June's finals. Marks is intrigued by the differing approaches each team has taken over the summer, referring to the matchup as star power versus roster continuity. According to Marks, the styles and how the two rosters were built are totally opposite. The highly spending Suns went all in with Kevin Durant trade in February and then added Bradley Beal in June. The Knicks, on the other hand, have taken a more conservative approach, returning 13 players that lost to Miami in the second round, while only adding Donte DiVincenzo in free agency. It's amazing to hear that Bobby Marks believes that the Knicks and Suns will be the matchup of the NBA Finals for next season. That's wild. Tell me how Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett were capped out in the second round against Miami last season. How they could lead the New York Knicks to the NBA Finals next season. That would be an amazing jump. Don't get me wrong. As a Knicks fan, I would love to see that. But realistically, I don't know what Bobby Marks is thinking here or even what makes him think that that could be possible. The New York Knicks, yes, they have Jalen Brunson, who will definitely get better. And another year, Jalen Brunson is going to be amazing. He's definitely going to take a leap. But for the Knicks to get to the NBA Finals, it's going to take more than Jalen Brunson. That means Quentin Grimes is going to have to take a major step. RJ Barrett is going to have to be the 3rd overall pick and who we thought he was going to be, taking a major leap in his game. Julius Randle is going to have to take a step back and be that clear but amazing 3rd option for the New York Knicks, hopefully being more of a facilitator. RJ Barrett will likely have to go back to the 2 if the New York Knicks are going to have to get there, because we've seen enough at this point. RJ at the 2 is what works for this New York Knicks team. It works already. We saw it in the playoffs. It'll definitely work during the regular season. Not only that, we're going to have to see Emmanuel Quickley come out and show out as soon as the season starts. There are a number of factors that have to go the Knicks' way in order for Bobby Marks' prediction to come true. If you're asking me if it's possible, of course it's possible. It's also just as possible that Phoenix falls flat on their face in the first round of the playoffs and doesn't make it. It's also possible that the New York Knicks get to the same place, the second round of the Eastern Conference next year, and then they don't do anything from that point either. All of those things are possible. But if you're asking me what's realistic, I just don't see that happening. The New York Knicks didn't really get better. They didn't really add any talent behind Donte DiVincenzo. I don't know how much better DiVincenzo alone makes the New York Knicks. And in an Eastern Conference that has the Celtics that did get better, Milwaukee, who was always a powerhouse. Those two teams are always going to be there. And if they're going to be there, they're always going to pose an issue for the New York Knicks. The Miami Heat are still there as well, too. They're going to pose an issue. The Cleveland Cavaliers got better, and they're going to showcase why they got better with the key additions that they made to their bench. Because you can make the argument that their bench and their offensive utility as well, too, in the playoffs cost them against the Knicks. So a lot of teams did get better. Not enough teams got better that's going to knock the Knicks out of playoff contention, in my opinion. The Knicks are definitely going to be in the playoffs. But in terms of seeding and who's are going to be there, it's not going to be an easy in for the Knicks to get to the NBA Finals. There's so many teams that they have to face, teams with likely and arguably better talent than the Knicks have right now. So, Bobby Marks, I appreciate your comments as a Knicks fan, and I think a lot of Knicks fans would agree. We love to hear that, and I would love to see it. I just don't think it's realistic. The styles you're talking about in terms of what Jalen Brunson can do and what he can do with leading the New York Knicks, and then what you have with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, and what they can do. Those styles are different, and each individual franchise went their own way. The Knicks went ahead and patiently built their roster. Not saying they're not looking for a star, but they're not giving up everything for any star available. They're looking for the right star. For the Phoenix Suns, KD wanted to go there, so they already had their ticket signed. They just needed to make KD work. And then Bradley Beal, they basically stole because Bradley Beal had control over his own destiny. So because of that, they were able to create that super team in Phoenix right now. It's going to be an interesting matchup, the Suns against the Knicks. I don't think it's a finals matchup in terms of NBA finals, but it's definitely a matchup I want to watch and a lot of Knicks fans want to watch. We do have an update on Josh Hart and his contract extension with the New York Knicks. So at this point in time, it's no secret. Josh Hart did re-sign with the Knicks for essentially $94+ million over the next 5 years. His last year with the New York Knicks on that contract is a team option, which makes the contract so much more favorable. But a lot of fans had some questions in regards to how much guaranteed money was Josh Hart due after this contract, and if there's any incentives built into the contract. Well, thanks to SNY's Ian Begley, we finally have that answer. According to Ian Begley, Josh Hart's first 3 years are fully guaranteed with the New York Knicks. That's roughly $59 million. And there are no performance-based bonuses required for Hart to get that amount of money. That means all Hart has to do is continue to be Hart, continue to play his game, continue to be that hustler and that person that does everything we need him to do on the floor. Essentially, doing everything the Knicks need without the ball. That's exactly why the Knicks re-signed him. Not only that, but he has a great relationship and chemistry with Jalen Brunson, and he's an energizer. Whether he's coming off of the bench or he's starting, I think that Josh Hart is always going to have an impact because of the type of player that he is. He gives you that energy regardless of where he is, and he always gives you that hustle that you need regardless of when he's playing or where he's playing. So a lot of conversation has been about Josh Hart potentially playing the 4. I think if you do that, you're taking away Josh Hart and what he can do so great. Put him at the 3 because I think he can thrive there. As a rebounder, he'll thrive there. He can drive the basket. He'll thrive there. He can have great two-way play because he's a really good defender, and he can thrive there. It makes sense for him to really play the 3 for the New York Knicks. I don't know if that's going to happen. Ideally, that would be the best case scenario for the Knicks because then they can move RJ Barrett back to the 2. But I think the lineup that you're going to see, quite honestly, is going to be Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. Sound familiar? It should, because it's the same lineup as last year. And if you know Tom Thibodeau, he's really comfortable in doing that. So don't get surprised if you see that lineup again. But I do think the closing lineup would definitely be different heading into next season. I think Josh Hart is going to occupy a lot of the closing minutes for the New York Knicks because Tom Thibodeau absolutely trusts him. Hearing about this guaranteed money for Hart really isn't surprising. If anything, I thought it would be more guaranteed money. So it is good to hear this update from SNY's Ian Begley. The Knicks also have made a decision on Jericho Sim as they have fully guaranteed this young man some money. And this is not surprising because we recently broke this report here as well too, that The Athletic reported that the Knicks were not interested in trading away Jericho Sims or Miles McBride in any type of throwaway trade or just to make a trade. So that means they did see some value in these two young players, especially Jericho Sims, who primarily plays the backup to Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson. And it was not surprising to hear Michael Scotto from Hoops Hype basically report that the New York Knicks plan to fully guarantee the $1.93 million salary of center Jericho Sims for next season. Sims started 16 games for New York and did participate in the slam dunk contest at All-Star Weekend. The New York Knicks clearly value him because when Robinson was not able to play or Isaiah Hartenstein was not able to play, they fully trusted Sims with starting. And he had some great moments with the starters. This kid has some super athleticism and some bounce. He can not only jump you out of the gym, but he is a great player for what the New York Knicks run. He doesn't have to play so much on offense. He just needs to give you great defense and great rebounding. And he can do that, especially under Tom Thibodeau. He's still very green and rough around the edges. I would love to see him get a little bit more run and burn, but unfortunately, with the way the Knicks are constructed and that 9-man roster that Tom Thibodeau loves, it really seems that Jericho Sims is only there for insurance in case of an injury. But if you can get somebody like Sims off of your bench as insurance in case of an injury, I think that says a lot and means a lot. He already built chemistry up with some of the bench players and the starters, so he's the perfect piece to go ahead and sign and fully guarantee that contract and that money because it only helps the Knicks. It doesn't hurt them in any way. So I love this move by the Knicks. It's a great move again by Leon. I'm curious to see what other moves, if any, the Knicks make heading into training camp. But it's going to be fun to watch this Knicks team and how many of their players take a leap heading into next season. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a comment below, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.